where things are. Setting up MIDI is really simple on the Maschine Plus. I've currently got two MIDI devices connected and powered up, the Moog Matriarch and the Digitone. So if you hit the settings button and come into the to the MIDI section, so that's what we're on now. These are all the MIDI settings, obviously. I'm just going to focus on the right screen where you've got input devices and output devices. And what you need to do whenever you attach a new bit of hardware via USB or MIDI connection, you have to come in, select that. So there you go, there's Matriarch, and make sure status is on. Just toggle them. So the first time you do it, turn them all on, and then Maschine will remember those connections as long as you have them plugged in. Every time you power them up, it will remember that status, which is handy. So you kind of, once you've got your setup done, you can set that and forget it. And then when you want to actually set up a pad to control one of those machines, this is what you do. You go back to the channel settings, same place we had earlier for setting the audio of any particular pad or of a whole group, but in this case we're going to MIDI control the Moog Matriarch from, I'm going to set up a new group F, the first pad here. So we're going to go to channel, we're going to select output, and then we're going to go, instead of audio, we're going to move it over to MIDI. You can see at the moment it's obviously defaulted to none, no destination. But we are going to change that to the Moog. You can see it's sort of shortened there, but that's the Moog. And then I know it's on channel 5, receiving. So we're going to switch that up. And hopefully now when we press this pad, there you go, we can hear the sound of the Moog. Just turn that up a bit and do that again. Now, of course, you could do that with 16 of your hardware instruments, have them all on different pad in order to play them from here, you know, and use the Maschine functionality. You switch to keyboard mode, there's the chromatic scale, and you can do nice things here because you can use the scale functions and even chords. Crazy stuff. As using the Maschine as playing functions, and of course things like ARP. Go into ARP mode. Let's see what happens here. Keyboard, ARP. And that's pretty tasty, isn't it? So there you are. Really straightforward. Moving over to the MPC Live to look at MIDI settings for external hardware now. I've already patched in my Moog Matriarch's audio output, so it's coming into the MPC. Just for simple monitoring purposes, I can check that with the speaker. There you go, you can see the levels there. And remember, we're still on the main page here. I've just switched to the audio tab to fix that routing, and to switch the monitor button to in, so that we can actually hear it through the speaker. And then in terms of controlling the Moog via MIDI, obviously first thing we've got to do, I've already called this track Moog. Sorry, I should be saying Moog. Let's just ignore that for now. And it's currently set to a drum program, so that's not going to work because that's for loading up samples. So we change the track type to MIDI. And again, this is where the MPC functions a lot more like a DAW, where you have to create a new track and typically tell the software what that track is going to be, MIDI, audio, whatever. And then once we've done that, it gives us the options we need for setting up a MIDI program. And first thing you want to do, again, all from the same page, is tell it which port we have the MIDI going out of. I've actually already plugged in a MIDI DIN cable here to get to the Moog, and I'm going to call it Matriarch from here on. So that's set, and then we need the MIDI channel. Now, there's MIDI channel selection here. So if we hit 5, which, if I recall correctly, is what I have set on the Matriarch, we should, yes. So we're now playing the Matriarch from the pads on the MPC and hearing the sound routed through the MPC's audio inputs and out the speaker. The nice thing about this, really, compared to the way MPC handles MIDI, is just the fact that, as I said, we've stayed on this main page where all our tracks, all our sequences are accessible, and without any additional menu diving, we've been able to do the MIDI and audio routing very quickly, very easily from one place. I love the fact that you can switch MIDI channel, I'm often unplugging and plugging in, and you don't always remember or haven't got labeled what channel you last set that particular bit of hardware on. So having that there to scroll through while you're hitting pads and be checking Eureka is a really nice bit of the user interface on here. Whereas with Maschine Plus, if you remember, we had to hit that channel button and go into the channel settings page, tab around between MIDI, audio, whatever, and do the settings each time. Now, I did add an arpeggiator to the MPC Live in one of their updates, I think 2.4, 2.5, but and you would think, I always think it's going to be, when I hit pad perform, I'm always looking for it in here, chords and scales and things, but actually it's accessible by hitting note repeat and holding that down, and then you've got the timing options, but you've also got ARP at the bottom there, and that is how you get into the arpeggiator. And once that screen's up, you can do all the settings you want. Hang on. Yeah, you know how ARPs work, right? That's nice. Once you've got it up, it works really well. I have to say that, and you can tell I'm struggling because I'm doing that one-handed while I'm holding my phone, which isn't ideal. But one thing the Maschine does really nicely in terms of all those main functions for performance and MIDI control, you have the ARP, or note repeat / ARP button there. That gives you access to that page, and you can pin the ARP or not. You've also got the basic pad mode, the keyboard, so you go chromatic or access to scales. Same with chords, access to different progressions, etc. So for me, that makes using the device's kind of MIDI control and accessing those functions, it definitely feels a bit easier to me on the Maschine Plus. But, no biggie, they both do all those things really well.